future ain't coming, it's already here. Power don't wait, it's taken by those who claim it. Write your fate, or be forgotten.
We tried to bury it.
If they learn to use the AI, we are doomed.
Every age brings change, but this time, it's different. Power belongs to those who master AI.
It's too late. They are teaching them everything. We cannot stop them.
And create whole worlds, not in years, but in days.
No gatekeepers. No Hollywood. We tell our own story now.
If you miss this train, there isn't another one coming.
Every empire began with vision. This time, it begins with you.
Keep them ignorant. Blind them with fear and distractions.
It's already too late. They are having an AI masterclass workshop.
Step into mastery. Join a movement of creators, inventors, and visionaries.
This is your fate. Claim it.
This workshop is teaching them how to use their imagination effectively. We are doomed.
They cannot be allowed to learn this power.
It's already too late.
Semon, Bomar, and Red Pill are breaking the seal.
Jobs ain't safe anymore, and AI ain't the enemy. It's the one using it that's gonna replace you.
This is the AI Master, Gods of Intelligence Workshop, ready to guide you.
Sign up now.
All right, we are about to start the show. Shout out to everybody who signed up for the AI masterclass that's coming up. Show y'all one more time. And Red Pillar 7 Beaumont's going down. Make sure you get your tickets, family. Make sure you get your tickets. It's going to be an absolute movie. There's a whole movement that's being started as a result of this. And yeah, I'm super excited. Super duper excited. You know, I forgot to tell everybody that the last couple of videos that I was changing the name of my channel. So it's actually might be hard for a lot of people to find my channel, or they might be a little confused and they might actually think that this channel is like one of them clone channels when they seen the name. But just to let y'all know, I did change the name. If y'all got a little confused, I changed the name of the channel from Black Magic 363 to 363 Empire. So just to let you know, that's my legit channel. And the thing about it is, when you change the name of your channel, they take away your check mark. So your check mark lets the people know that that's your real channel, but they took away my check mark because I changed my name. So I know some people are a little confused about it, but see, yeah, somebody said I was, yeah, but it's all good. Eventually, after a couple of videos, they'll figure it out. But I know the first couple of videos, you know, it's going to be a little confusing. Okay, that's good. That's good. Somebody said, was it hard to find you? Okay, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad. But we got a great show happening tonight. Somebody said I had to go back and view your video. Like, okay, yeah, I know. You might be like, hold up, is this Brother Rich or is this somebody pretending to be Brother Rich? Yeah, I figured it out this morning. Yeah. But anyway, regardless, we're gonna have a great show tonight. Welcome to everybody in the audience, anybody who made it here and figured it out. But yeah, I figured. So Peace Priestess said I was confused, but the 363 got me. That's what I figured. I said, well, it still say 363 in there. So that should, you know, let them know, you know, that what it is. So I'm glad that you was able to figure it out. But like I said, it might just take your AI. Yeah, I know people like, is this an AI channel? But people will figure it out eventually after a couple of videos, you know. Here go Billy right here. I think Billy's there. He was there, but yeah, I don't know what happened to the brother. Yeah, he'll be here soon. But what's going on with y'all, man? What is going on with the family? We're getting ready to have a great show tonight. Cosmic Hide and Seek. Yeah, this is a multi-dimensional hide and seek game that's being played, and it's wow, it's interesting. Somebody said rebranding. Yeah, it's definitely, this year has been like a real, I've been doing a lot of contemplating this year, and rebranding is definitely something that is in my future, is in my present. I don't want to say in my future. Rebranding is something that's in my present. So, and like I said, yeah, it's a new timeline. Thank you, eSnap. eSnap said it's a new timeline. Yeah, it's a new timeline. So they might, there's gonna be different things, but you gotta follow your rhythm. You know what I'm saying? And me and Red, I remember I sent Red this Napoleon Hill video, and we've been looking at this Napoleon Hill joint. I should post it in my community post, but your emotions are supposed to follow your rhythm. You shouldn't let your rhythm follow your emotions, because your emotions could be like an emotional, like a roller coaster ride, but your rhythm is who you are all day, every day. Like I said before, it's your identity. So, my rhythm took me somewhere else, and I gotta follow it. But yeah, they say the nine was the time for transformation. So it all makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It all makes sense. I've been doing a lot of thinking anyway this year, because I just had my daughter, and that makes you think a lot. And in some ways I took a mental break. I've been here on YouTube, but I took a mental break, like just kind of slow down with the amount of videos that I put out. And it allows you to see things from a different perspective. And the time will come again where you just on it, and you got to move, but you got to know how to wax on and wax off. That was what was dope about the Karate Kid. You got to know how to wax on, wax off. So I had to wax off a little this year, and think about the future and the present, and what I want to do moving forward. I did this before. When I used to do the shows with Griff and Zaza and D. Gregory. So Billy, I'm hearing feedback. Can you hear me? Yeah. I can't hear you, Billy. You sound like a gargoyle or something, man. Like a monster. Y'all hear that? Somebody said that I talked to Chief Rod. Yeah, we just did the Patriot video. Y'all better get on Patreon. We just did the Patriot video. So y'all gotta check. Somebody said sound like a lion. Yeah, Billy, it sounds exactly like a lion or something like literally, Billy. It might be the is that a Bluetooth you're using? Yeah, monster sounds, yeah. Yeah, somebody said it used to be UGL. Yeah, I've done this before, so it's just it's just obviously something that I'm gonna be Oh, somebody said that's your logo, Growler. I guess so, right? The line. Remember, I got the line on the logo now, so that might be it. But yeah, Billy, yeah, I don't know. I would say go back out and come back in, because I can't hear you at all right now, Billy. Yeah, I can't hear Billy at all right now. Yeah, them sounds are serious, right? I ain't never heard them sounds. Shit. But let me ask you, listen, y'all gotta think about it. If we're I remember Bobby Hemmett, right? Bobby Hemmett used to talk about monsters, and he used to talk about how primordial beings kind of look like what we would call a monster. And the soul, if we ever seen a soul, we would get scared because of what we've been programmed. So we really gotta it really makes you think wow, what in our higher self state, what will we consider beauty? That's a whole different conversation. What do you consider beauty in another dimension as your higher self or as your soul self versus what we are considering in this dimension with our physical avatars? So it's just an interesting concept with monsters, and how early children are taught to be scared of monsters. So it's just it's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Yeah, Billy said he's going to his studio room now. Yeah, he said his PC had an update. Yeah, so he'll be back. He'll be back in 1 second. Yeah, I heard Jimmy Kimmel got back on. I don't watch it, but I heard that like they suspended him over them comments. But anyway, what's good with y'all though? What's good with y'all? What is good with y'all, man? How y'all? Somebody said, "What the hell?" Slimmy said, "What the hell?" Red pill voice for real, right? For real, for real. But yeah, I'm glad to have this conversation with Billy. You know, he got this academy, and you know, I want to ask him questions that I think that is just going to be a great dialogue and questions that need to be asked. And I think Billy's the perfect person to ask this at this time. So I just can't wait for the conversation tonight. You know what I'm saying? But that alien talk is big. Like they're saying, I keep hearing. I just seen something from B-Dell. Shout out to B-Dell. B-Dell get busy. B-Dell. This has been a very active year for B-Dell. I want to give a shout out to Discord. Somebody said it's a Discord open. Yes, it's open. I just created some administrators today. It's funny you say that. I just created some administrators today for the Discord because we're gearing up. So there's gonna be probably like 4 administrators. So we gearing up right now. We about to get super busy. Also, if anybody is interested in the cigars, let me post a link. There's a couple things. Let me post a link for the cigars. I told y'all I went to Honduras 2 weekends ago. 2 weekends ago, because this past weekend was my birthday, but 2 weekends ago, I went to Honduras and I was kicking it with the locals out there. Yeah. And wow, I read up on the cigars. So if anybody who's interested in getting the cigars, all the information is in that link. I'm gonna share it once again. These cigars, anybody who tries them know they super lit. Rod Hayes absolutely loves them. I gotta send him some every month. You know what I mean? So somebody say yes, I want some of those cigars. Yeah, so click on that link. Click on the link. And I hope the link is working. Smoking one right now. That's what's up. That's what's up. Somebody said smoking one right now. That's what's up. Yeah, make sure y'all get your cigars. If you order them, I'm gonna start shipping. Because I posted a link, I think Friday, and a lot of people Thursday, sometime at the end of last week. I'm gonna start shipping probably Thursday or Friday of this week. So if you ordered them last week when I posted the link, I should be shipping by this Friday. So just to give everybody heads up, I got a big shipment going out, and I'm building this 363 empire. So that's my gift. You know, you go to PayPal, you donate, and if you donate a certain amount, I send you out a cigar. That's my gift. I'm gifting y'all as how much should we donate? That sound cheaper. It's all in the link, but $30 get you the cigar. You can donate whatever you want, but the cigar is a gift from Honduras that I've been blessed with from the natives of Honduras. 100% tobacco. Like it's some real deal shit, man. I think Billy's with us right now. Billy, you there? Can you hear me? Billy, can you hear me? I'm moving my mic closer. Let me see. Okay, 1 minute. Give Billy 1 second. But yeah, shout out to Honduras and okay, Billy, you there?
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
Yeah, I hear you now, Billy.
Yeah. We were rebuilding the studio, so I was trying to go live in my upstairs area, and then there was a technical difficulty. So thanks, Justin. I appreciate that. So my son was trying to hurry up and get everything together because we were filming all day out there, and so we had to get the technology back in here.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but hey, we live now, man. We live now. For some reason, it didn't work up there. For some reason, it was crazy. The computer kept rebooting.
Wow,
yeah,
man.
well, we here, man.
Indeed, man. Good to see you back on here, man. I haven't seen you in a while on here.
Yes. Hey, it's a blessing to be back, brother. Thank you for inviting me back.
Indeed. What have you? First of all, Billy. So I listen, man. I changed the name of the channel, so it's no longer Black Magic 363. You know how you retire a jersey in the Raptors, in basketball, like they retired the numbers. Black Magic 363 is retired.
Okay.
That entity was an all-star Hall of Famer, Black Magic 363 Hall of Famer.
For sure.
For sure. A conscious Hall of Famer, but you know, the direction I'm going right now, it's a different direction, and I'm rebranding and something I'm gonna say later on I want to tell you about, but I want to have the conversation first. But the new name of the channel, Billy, is 363 Empire. So it might be a little, I'm explaining, but it might be a little hard for some people to find. I know certain people are getting confused, but I had to follow that inner feeling, that intuitive feeling. And I'm glad we're having this conversation. We're going to talk a lot about manifestation tonight, and I know that you've been doing your thing with this academy thing, which is pretty big. So I'm glad to have you on here, and I'm glad you got that background, because the background actually says 4BK Academy.
That's right.
So it's dope. It goes with the flow, the vibration of the show. And to start out with, Billy, could you just tell the people you haven't been on here in a while? What has Billy Carson been up to? And tell us a little bit about the academy, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, brother. I've been up to so much. This weekend alone, now I'll go a little bit back in time. This weekend alone, I just flew 5,600 miles. I took off Thursday late morning, and I just landed today, earlier today. And so basically in 3.5 days, technically, I flew about 5,600 miles, worked in 4 different states, more extensively in North Carolina at the GSIC conference. And then I flew all the way over to, from there, I flew straight to California and worked for 4 hours at the Better You conference. It's more of a private setting inside of a super mansion and an Airbnb with some incredible people. Matter of fact, Black Eyed Peas were there, so it was pretty cool. And then, flying back and stopping in Atlanta and a few other places along the way and just grinding. So, and the reason why I bring this up is for people to understand that, sometimes in order to get you to your destination, you're going to have to go overtime. You got to take extra routes. You're going to be exhausted and you got to push through. I could have easily had just canceled a few of these things and said, you know what, it's just too much for me this weekend. But in the phase and the stage that I'm in right now, I knew that I needed to push through this in order to also prove to myself that I'm 100% healthy and I'm 100% back, and to stop allowing myself to feel like, I got to pace myself because I'm back to the full energetic me. But sometimes, to get to that next level, you just got to push through. And these movements I made over the last 3.5 days put me in contact with some incredible people, gave me some incredible connections, and some potential collaborations that I would have never had I not pushed through and made it all happen. Other than that, I launched the Forbidden Knowledge Academy, the Forbidden Knowledge Academy, which has only been now 2 months old, and we're already #1 on the school platform in self-improvement. #1. There's 178,000 groups on that platform. 178,000. And what's ironic about this is we have over 1,200 leaders in there now. I call them leaders, not followers. Students that have joined the program. And these students are all in there helping to lead and bring us back into a new paradigm as we're all working on ourselves together at the same time. And we joined the program at the same time that Alex Hormozi, who runs the platform, launched a contest, which I didn't even know about. At the end of July, we got in, and we fit right within the contest range. And so we're actually, have already won #1 position in that field. So I'll be going out to California to the headquarters of school to get a big trophy and everything. But that trophy's not for me. It's for everyone. It's for all the leaders in the program. And right now, we are literally in there going to work over 150 hours now of recorded teachings, modules, classes, exercises, and declarations, affirmations, you name it. People are in there really grinding, really working, and really posting their success in real time as they are literally showing us that their life is changing in real time. So it's an amazing opportunity. And thank you for letting me talk about that, Rich.
No, indeed. I'm glad that you are very inspirational, man. Very inspirational seeing what you're doing. And I'm glad you're doing it, my brother. Keep doing your thing. Wow. Amazing. Let's start off by having this wonderful conversation about manifestation. One of the first things I want to ask you is me and you, we've collaborated for a good amount of years now. From the I think we started with the imagination workshop that we did. I think that was during COVID 2020, I believe. Is there anything from 2020, we're in 2025 now, that you've learned in the last 5 years concerning manifestation or the mechanics of consciousness that maybe you overlooked in 2020 that you think is important, or you may want to share with us at this time?
Oh man, there's so much. The beautiful thing about learning about this field is that the science is always coming out and reconfirming and also adding new things, right? So back then, I think it was 2019, actually. I think it was pre-COVID because we didn't have masks on. And I met you at the St. Francis University or St. Francis College in Brooklyn. Yeah. That's where I met the elder that just passed away the other day.
Baba Heru.
Baba Heru. I met him there in person.
Rest in power, Baba Heru. Rest in power.
Yes, sir. I mean, rest in power, man. What an incredible human being. That's where I met him. So at the time that we had that first collaboration, I did not know that the universe consisted of at least 11 dimensions, and I did not know that the brain connected to all 11 of those dimensions.
Wow.
I hypothesized a couple of years later. There's a workshop that we did called God Power, where I hypothesized it, but I did not have strict confirmation, scientific confirmation. And so I said that this is my opinion. Now we know for a fact that science, mathematical models have proven that the universe, our universe, is at least 11 dimensions. When they try to go beyond 11, it collapses. It collapses back down to 11. So mathematically, the strongest supercomputers have proven 11-dimensional universe. And then the Brain Institute, completely separate from the theoretical physicists, independently discovered that the mind connects up to 11 dimensions. So we have 11-dimensional conscious thought, and we have 11 dimensions of the universe. There's no coincidences that we are connecting consciously on every single level in every dimension, almost like a chakra system, a universal chakra system. And that our minds are multidimensional, and that we're operating from a multidimensional platform. This is incredible, and it's very key. Something else that I learned, man, is that because we're operating from this multidimensional platform, not only does it really unlock our knowledge and awareness, it brought me to another amazing epiphany. This epiphany is going to blow people away.
Come on, Billy.
Okay? When you look at anything that's quote unquote man-made, the hat you have on, your t-shirt, my hat, this microphone, the desk I'm sitting at, even the device that I'm talking into called a camera, we're not looking at those objects with the names that I specifically gave them. We're not looking at these nouns. What we're looking at, we are looking at thoughts.
Right.
Everything that you see that is man-made, you are looking at a thought.
Advanced
because
thoughts?
Those things, huh?
Did you say advanced thoughts? Advanced?
Not advanced, just a thought. So everything that you see used to be a thought in someone's mind and collapsed into reality.
Yeah.
So now I used to talk about the fact that our thoughts collapse. We collapse our thoughts and to create and manifest reality, which is true. But at the same time, when you see something that's actually manufactured, like this phone was a thought in Mr. Samsung's mind or his engineers or developers' minds. Now I'm holding someone's thought in my hand. Everything that we see is a thought. Everything that exists is a conscious thought. And everything outside of what we call man-made, that we call nature, is the manifestation of a conscious thought from the divine individual or the divine entity. Some call it God, some call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. Everything is only here because of conscious thought. And without conscious thought interacting with the field, there would be no universe. The universe wouldn't even exist. It would just exist as a wave of individual potentials with nothing secure or nothing exact ever really collapsing into reality. It would be this soup of unlimited potential, but nothing ever being manifested. So we intrinsically, now for the first time, I really feel secure in saying that our minds are directly responsible for what we experience in the third dimension, the reality that we have, and that we collectively collaborate together to create reality as a whole. And individually, we have a certain level of control over our own reality tunnels. And that truly is a miracle. We are creators we're co-creators in this universe. It's a scientific fact now.
All right, so Billy, let me ask you this, and that's a great way to start this conversation tonight. And family, I really advise everybody to take notes tonight. There's a lot of videos on manifestations, manifesting on the internet, but the level of energy, love, emotion that's getting ready to get displayed in this video, it's rare. So this is something that is unique. It's something that comes straight from the heart, and whatever comes straight from the heart is God. So you're watching God talk tonight, literally, as you witness this dialogue between me and Billy on this interview. So I just want to say that take this very serious, people. It's not just family. It's not just a podcast where we're entertaining. It's real serious stuff. Billy, when you say everything is a thought, Billy, my brother, I love that idea, but there are some things I don't like about the idea that I wouldn't say I don't like it, Billy, but I would say I question why is the universe designed in this way? Let me explain myself. So let's say you have a friend and everything is thought, and your friend has been treating you bad, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna imagine my friend treating me the manner in which I want him to treat me. So like, let's say your friend, let's say you're a wealthy guy, Billy. So let's say your friend, he got this entitlement issue with him, and he just feels entitled to what Billy has. Billy says, damn, that's my friend. I don't want him to feel that way. I'm going to use my visualization techniques to change things. Let's say it works. A year later, no entitlement issues. My problem with that, and I wouldn't say problem, but the only thing I would question about that, Billy, is it takes the soul element out of the simulation, and it just makes everything seem so robotic. I would want that person to change on their own accord. I wouldn't want to have this visualization technique and meditate for the person I love to change.
Yeah, they have to change on their own. I'm talking about objects. I'm talking about materialistic things like this stand.
Billy, people use that on people all the time.
You can't change anybody. No. The only way that you can affect somebody is that you can be the light, and you can show them how you act and how you lead. You can be the light in the world that people can see, like a lighthouse right off the shore. And they can be out there in the middle of the water in the murky darkness, and they can see that light, and they can try to shift their direction towards that light. In other words, to be and emulate more like you. But changing someone, I mean, I proved that, and that's why I had to file for a divorce. You can't change anybody. You can't. I couldn't change my exes. You can't make anybody happy. They have to be happy for themselves. They have to be able to change themselves. And if somebody's not willing to change themselves, then there's nothing you can do about it. So there's no way you can manifest somebody from your own self into being a certain type of way or acting a certain type of way. The only thing that you can do is be a light for them. And sometimes you got to even give them tough love, and you got to turn your back and walk away and let them figure it out for themselves.
So, Billy, what do you think? Because you're a science guy. I love the approach you come from. Very frequency, vibration, resonance kind of approach. What do you think about the whole, with that conversation we just had? What do you think about the whole, this idea of voodoo, and let's say a woman getting a man to fall in love with her? So she designs a doll and this and that, and she's like, yeah, I did voodoo on him. That's how I got my man, and that's why he's, what do you think about that whole culture then, Billy?
I research a lot into voodoo. I mean, I have relatives that are into voodoo. I don't have anything against voodoo. It's just another form of spiritual religion. As a matter of fact, I mean, even most of the religions all have a certain level of voodoo in them. I mean, one of the main religions on the planet, you know, they tell you to eat the flesh of the man and drink his blood once a year. All right, that's voodoo, right? That's Christianity. And so it's a very popular thing to do in order to try to affect the energy field. I just feel that some of those things potentially could be temporary or could be illusory. In other words, you may influence somewhat body by creating a certain level of metaphysical situations that lure someone into your possession or create situations that can allow that person to fall into harm if they're not mentally strong enough. But in the long haul, I don't think it has a long-term effect. Now, I could be wrong about that. I just watched my aunt Doris, who's bless her heart, rest in power, passed away years ago. And my whole life growing up, I grew up around her and around her house and everything else, and all the voodoo and everything that they used to do. And it has a certain level of power. I'm not gonna lie, it has a certain level of power. I saw the most power it had was for predicting things in advance. Like my dad was going to get into this major car accident. She predicted it 2 weeks ahead of time, and she predicted that they would pronounce him dead, but he would survive. And 2 weeks later, he was in a head-on collision with an 18-wheeler, and he was covered in blood. And they called the house and said, told my mom, your husband just died in the hospital. We rushed to the hospital. He was alive. And all the blood that was all over him was the passengers. He was driving a van for a company called Handy Van, and he had elderly in the back. All 7 elderly people died, even though he took the head-on impact from the 18-wheeler. So that was bizarre. I saw that power, and I saw that prediction power with my own eyes and my own ears. I was there when she told my mother, and my mother got angry at her. And also I saw her try to use that same exact power to control things. And I could see manipulation in effect at times, but I never saw it have a stronghold over an extended period of time, unless the person had a weak mind. So I think the stronger the person's mind and the more aware that a person is, it could have an initial effect, but overall, the long haul, I didn't see a long-term effect on some of those control factors, but I did see predictability. That did work. Predicting things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I'm glad we went there real quick. Very, very, very interesting. Now, was that hoodoo or voodoo that you were talking about with your?
That was voodoo. Yeah, she was doing voodoo. She had statues at her house, and she had an altar, and she would actually. It was so bizarre because our cousin, her daughter, who was adopted by her and raised by her, would actually feed these statues, and the statues would eat the food. And I'm talking about porcelain statues with no hole in their mouth. Would then all of a sudden would come alive and eat this food, this manna that they would give the statues. I witnessed all this growing up.
Billy,
I was around this stuff.
You never talked about this before.
Never. This is the first time I'm talking about this publicly.
This is like some hidden stuff, man.
This is forbidden knowledge.
What did you hear? Real.
The first time I saw those statues eat food, my brother and I ran like you wouldn't believe, but we had nowhere to go because we were visiting her house in Opelika down in Miami. And we were like, where would we go now? We out in the front yard. There's nowhere to go. I mean, on her front porch, she had, human skulls. I mean, this is real. This is the full life. You know what I'm saying? And so I witnessed this stuff growing up. I was around this stuff on a consistent basis, at the time. We would visit. She lived maybe 4 miles away from us. So we would go over there quite a bit. And I witnessed some crazy stuff, But like I said, the long-term effect, I just never saw any long-term effect. But I saw the predictability, predicting the future. I saw that happen. I saw her do that dozens of times.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is some amazing forbidden knowledge exclusive. We just got a forbidden now. Porcelain dolls eating food. Wow. Porcelain
super exclusive.
Statues eating food. All right. Oh yeah, real quick. Somebody did you change the name of your channel? Yes, I did. I know it's confused. It's gonna be confusing. It's gonna take a little while for people to get it and understand. Yes, I did. And I understood that. YouTube told me we're going to take away your check mark if you change the name. I didn't care. I had to follow what I had to follow. So, I did change the name of a channel. This is not a spam channel. This is not an AI channel. This is really Brother Rich and Billy Carson. You know what I'm saying? But, just tell your friends, family, anybody you know, if they might be a little confused and might think, oh, that's not them. I'm not watching that video. Yeah, so it might take a little while. It may affect the views for a second, but we'll be back up and running in no time. Shout out to King Simon in the chat. Let's keep this thing going. Wow, that was very interesting, Billy. Very interesting story.
You just got a forbidden tidbit.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Billy. They say, Billy, they say life is like a roller coaster, right? So in a roller coaster, Billy, you got ups, you got downs, you got ups, you got downs, you got ups, you got downs, whatever. And but this is the thing, Billy. Let me tell you what this is the thing. This is interesting. The first time I went to Great Adventure, it was absolutely amazing. That the ride I went on. But after about the 8th time being on that ride, it wasn't as exhilarating. It wasn't as dramatic. It wasn't as suspenseful as it was the first 2 times I went on it. So you start to look for more dramatic rides or bigger or taller or whatever. Now, if life is a roller coaster and we get reincarnated down here, I have a question for the old souls down here, those who experience life, let's say 100,000 times or 1,000 times. Do you think old souls purposely looks for suspenseful, dramatic lives because they've been down here so much so they can't feel what the average person feels, so they purposely need a life that's full of drama and suspense?
That's a good question. I believe that we do sign some type of a soul contract to come back and help out. And this is it's crazy you bring this question up because I just literally got asked this question a few hours ago. Same exact question.
Wow.
I had Dr. Jesse Beltran come over here to my home studio. We just filmed a full podcast in the other part of the house. And one of the incredible questions was that why did we choose this contract? Why are we here? And do we go through these tumultuous situations and go through all these stressors and traumas so that we can come back and become a teacher? And I'm leaning more towards that answer. It feels like, because I look at a lot of the things I've been through in my life, it's a lot. I've been through so much in my life that it would crush the average person. A lot of people would have already unalived themselves probably several times. But I see that how I turn that pain into power. I see how I take that pain and I'm able to then relate it back to people. I can relate to anyone at any single level. I don't care where they are in their life, because I've been everything. I've been beneath the ghetto. I've been homeless. I've been rich. I've been on all the highs. I've hopped on private jets and flown around the world. I've been on tops of mountains, and I also been through all the lows. And so I can relate to anyone on any level. I could talk to a quantum physicist or a cardiologist, and I can also talk to a brother from the hood and have a great conversation, and we can go back and forth. And I think that within those conversations, I'm able to enact or give the mana, which is my mana, is some level of knowledge and wisdom that's going to help that person heal, fix a problem, become a solutions provider, lead, whatever the case may be. And I think that we go through a lot of these traumas and these stresses on this roller coaster of life in order to be able to come back and now experience it, now teach. I think we go through it in the life we have, and we also can go through such a crazy life that we can come back again and relate to people in a way that they can never be able to relate to anyone else. You show up as an angel. There is a lot of great text in the Bible, because it says, one of the greatest things I've ever read in the Bible was be careful how you treat someone, because you're entertaining angels unaware. And you could be talking to someone that's already been incarnated and been here. This person has come to be an angel in your life, a person that's coming to bring knowledge, wisdom, understanding, empathy to you, and a solution to you that you would have never known they were going to be able to give you if you just had treated them the proper way, if you had just respected them the proper way, if you didn't see them with judgmental eyes, but saw them as an equal human being, so they can then impart that wisdom and knowledge and love into your life that will change your whole trajectory, your whole path. And so I think that's what it's all about, man. This roller coaster is all about coming back and blessing people and relating to them at every single level of catching someone in the place where they're at in the moment. And, I could talk to a person that's thinking about committing suicide, which I do that almost every week, because I get suicide notes every single week. I get people telling me I have a knife to my throat right now. I have a knife to my wrist right now. And I have to talk them down or give them the number to call and contact. But I've been there myself, So we go through this so that we can be relatable, so that we can deal with people, so we can have the empathy on their level and understand exactly what they're going through.
I don't want to overstep my boundaries and ask something I shouldn't ask, but Billy, have you ever tried to harm yourself in this lifetime?
I thought about it. I had to go and take my guns and hide them. Not hide them technically, like I wouldn't know where I put them, but I had put them in this area that's so high I have this closet that has a shelf that's so high, I have to go get a ladder to go get on it. You know, I have these crazy, you've been in my house before, I got these crazy high ceilings. And recently, I would say within the last 6 months, I was going through something so crazy and so painful that I was like, you know, I can just put myself back in the reincarnation cycle and just start over again, because I believe in reincarnation anyway. I had already died back in last September. This is the anniversary of my death, by the way. I died last year at this time. I was dead and I was in the hospital, died, passed away, came back to life. So, but this year though, I had a situation where I got to a point where, and this is long after the whole Christian thing was over, that attack thing, that had nothing to do with that at all. It was something totally different. And I got my guns. I pulled one. I got a military gun. I got a 509 with a laser scope and a light and everything on. I sat down with that one, the military, and I sat down, looked at it. You know, I popped one in the chamber. I said, man, you know, just be so easy to just leave this place and just come back again and start all over again. Damn. And I came to my senses within like less than 2 minutes, you know, and obviously, but I said, I said to myself, I'll never let myself get this low again, ever. And that's when I made a lot of changes in my life, what everyone knows about. I made a lot of major changes and reorganized my circle, put it that way, immediately. And I took those and I went and put them in the highest area because I knew that I would have to go through a lot of steps to get to them. And so I have to go down to the garage. I have to get the real ladder, not even a step ladder, go get a real ladder, bring it all the way up the stairs, bring it into my room, climb up the ladder. It's a lot of process to go through to get up there. So that's why I put them up there, to give myself a lot of opportunity to think before I go up to go get them again. Now I've already gotten them back down. I got them next to my bed. I got my Rottweilers by my side again, you know. Those are my dogs, my walking sticks and everything else. But there was a time, man, so I can relate to somebody thinking, you know, man, just end this and start fresh, you know. And I can understand when somebody gets to that point. There's a breaking point that every person has. Fortunately, I was able to get to that breaking point, just to the edge of it, and then come back to my real senses and realize, now my mission here is not complete. Let's get back to work. You know, let's make some changes, some drastic changes, which I made some drastic. Everyone knows I made some drastic changes in my life and who I was around, and eliminated those people from my life, and took that. And that was a big roll of a dice, because I got a lot, you know, you got a lot to lose when you make some of those drastic changes, especially when somebody's sharing half of your stuff. But I knew I had to do what I had to do so that I can become the best version of myself again. And that's exactly what I did.
Excellent, my brother. Excellent, my brother. I'm glad you was able to just come out of that situation, you know. And like I said, I'm proud of your academy and what you have been creating lately. So excellent. Let me ask you this, because this is something that I've heard Dame Dash talk about this with people he's worked with. So I want to ask you, have you ever, and this pertains to your academy, have you ever asked for something, Billy, like you really, 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 really want something, and you like meditating day and night for this thing to manifest, and then you finally manifest this thing, and you're unhappy about the manifestation of it? Like, it's exactly how you pictured it, but you're not happy. You were happy before it manifested, but you're not happy after it manifested. This happens with a lot of people. Dame Dash said this happened with a lot of artists that he worked with who asked for stuff, got it, and was more depressed after they got it than before they got it. So what did the person do wrong in this instance, if they did something wrong? Or is this just a part of discovering who you are, Billy? Well, you know, it's a two-part answer. One, it is a part of discovering who you are at your core, right? At your core value system, at your core of who you really are as a person. The second part of that, really the deeper part, is realizing that you wanted to manifest something that was a want, but not an actual need. And at the time that you were looking to manifest these things, you weren't grateful for what you already had. You see? Oh, wow. There's a parable that goes, you know, there's a man in a Lamborghini. He pulls up to a red light. Another man pulls up next to him in a red light in a Toyota Camry. And he's looking at the man in the Lamborghini at the red light like, oh my God, I can't believe this is the car of my dreams. I would love to have this car. I really wish I had a Lamborghini. Then the light changes green and the Lamborghini pulls off and makes a left turn, and the guy in the Camry keeps driving straight.
As he's driving straight, there's a guy on a bicycle trying to cross the intersection, and he sees that Toyota Camry. He goes, man, that's my dream car. I would love to have that Toyota Camry. He's riding his bike to work. He's like, man, if I only had that Toyota Camry, I can leave for work. I can stay in bed longer. I can get up later. I can get to work faster. You know, I can do more things with my family. I'd love to have that Camry. And as he's riding the bike across the crossing walk to get to the other side, and he hops back on and starts taking off again, there's a man walking to work. And he sees this guy ride by on this really nice 10-speed bike. And he goes, oh my God, that's the bike I want. I can't even afford to put that bike on layaway. I wish I had that bike. It'll help me get to work much faster. And while the man continues walking on to work, he walks next to this apartment building, and there's somebody on the 4th floor looking over the balcony, sitting in a wheelchair. And he goes, man, I wish I could walk. I see this guy just walking every day. He's walking to work. He's going somewhere. I wish I can get out of this chair and walk. You see? So we're always wanting something more. We're always trying to get to the next level. We're always fighting and scrapping. Man, I want to get these things. But have we given gratitude for what we have in the actual moment? It's always good to want more and want abundance and all that and live a life of luxury. I believe that's our birthright. But at the same time, at our core, are we grateful and thankful for what we already have? Because if you're not grateful for what you have in the moment, you're not going to be grateful for what you get when you move to the next level, because the next level is going to come with next level problems. More money, more problems is a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
It's a real thing. Like the more money you get, the more problems you literally have, the more you got to defend it. You got to stop people from stealing it. You got to find a way to keep the government from taking it. I mean, everywhere you turn, somebody's trying to take it, right? Even the people closest to you, which is why sometimes you got to get rid of them too. You see what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So all of a sudden you realize, man, more money, more problems is so real. It changes people. It turns them into absolute animals, but only if they're not grateful for what they've already had in life. And so when you get around people who pretend to be grateful, but aren't really grateful at heart, those are the worst people to be around. And people who then, like the artist he's talking about, they probably weren't as grateful as they thought they were for what they had before they got to the riches and got to the private jets and the cars and the gold chains and everything else. And then they realize the amount of responsibility that comes with all of that fame. It's a lot to take in. Like, I can't just walk out here on the street and just start acting like an asshole. I can't just start mistreating people in public. You know, I can't just go out here and jump from woman to woman to woman to woman and then think that nobody's going to share my text messages on social media and try to put me out there and expose me, right? I got to be careful. Every message, every interaction, everywhere I go, everything I look at, everything I say, how I react, how I don't react, everything's being watched 24/7. So all of a sudden you get to this level of fame you dreamed of and you realize it's a prison. It's tough. It's tough, you know? I can't just walk down the beach anymore. I got to go to the beach at 5 o'clock in the morning now so I can walk down the sidewalk and do my meditation walks. If I get to the beach at 10 o'clock in the morning and start walking, I get stopped every 10, 15 minutes. I don't mind, but I get it. Selfie, hey, how you doing? Shake hand, asking questions. People from all walks of life, every different race. I had the whole fire department pulled over. I'm thinking there's an emergency on the beach. They came over to talk to me. 10 guys in a fire, the biggest fire truck, the big one. So, you know, I got to go early, super early, so I could just get my meditation, so I could focus on what I'm focusing on. And you get to this level of fame, and I'm not even really famous yet. I'm not even like Michael Jordan or Chris Brown, all these people. I can only imagine the kind of prison that they're in. I mean, it's an invisible prison.
So I'm glad, you know, one of the phenomenons about being an interviewer that I enjoy is that the questions that I write down, because some of the questions is just based on what you're saying, we vibing. Some questions I write down, but a lot of times you end up with your answer to one question, you lead perfectly into the next question I want to answer anyway. So I just wanted to show you, you can barely see it, but up here it says 50 Cent talk about things that come with success. So it's up here. Where it says harmonics here. So I want to ask you this, Billy. I was thinking to myself, and I said to myself, I said, all right, I seen an interview with 50 Cent. I hear this all the time about Because first of all, let me preface it. They say reality is a mirror. So it's a mirror of what you project. You're going to get perfectly. This is what the New Agers say. It's a mirror. So then I think about what 50 Cent said. He said, listen, when you get success, you envision the success, but other things come with it. Entitlement, greed, jealousy, envy, so on and so forth. So in my mind, I said, well, what the hell? If I'm on the frequency of financial success, what the hell does the frequency of envy, if we're talking physics and mathematically, have to do with that frequency? That's a whole nother frequency. Why does all this stuff have to come with the frequency of success? So I want to ask you this real quick.
Yeah, well, the reason why is because we have something in the universe called yin and yang, good and bad, dark and light. That ancient wisdom, those frequencies permeate the entire universe. You can't have one without the other, right? Now, the beautiful thing about it, though, is that the light always seems to overpower the darkness in the end. But there is a particular amount of time that darkness can slightly overtake the light. But in the end, if you keep pushing, the light will overtake the darkness. But there's this, with fame, public fame. With public fame, there is this frequency that you put out. This frequency is a bright light, and it's a beacon for all the ones who are at good-hearted people, or all the ones who are also bad-hearted people. They all see the light, and like a moth to a flame, here they come. They all coming, right? And the ones that are at their core value level are envious, are hateful, are not happy with themselves, are then going to project that onto you, because they don't have any other way of unleashing their emotions or dealing with their own personal downfall or their shortfall. The people that are empathetic, that are love, light, that are all about happiness and success and celebrating other people's success, they're going to come to you and they're going to give you a lot of love. Now, what I found through this whole process, to be honest with you, fortunately, there's 10x more love than hate. The hate, the darkness, the envy, the haters, the trolls, the bandwagoners and all them, they're a small percentage. For me, at least, they're a small percentage. I haven't seen a large percentage. It's a very small percentage. Even when the whole attack happened last year, it seemed like the whole world. No, it was still a small percentage. I went back and did some analytics, and I began to realize the amount of love was still 10x the amount of actual hate. And our mind's eye is drawn towards any type of envy, hate, jealousy, trolling. It sees it because our mind is designed to save us and keep us safe. So it's attracted to that very quickly and abruptly to put us in this fight or flight mode to get us prepared to save ourselves. It doesn't recognize that this is a digital age and we're dealing with screens and computers and software and people who might not even be real, might just be bots. So the mind can't distinguish between that and hunting for a mammoth, a woolly mammoth, or trying to hunt, a rabbit to bring back to the family for dinner that night, or trying to avoid getting eaten by a lion in the jungle. It can't distinguish between that and screens and all this stuff. All it knows is danger. And so that's the perception that the mind will take in. But at the end of the day, I always find that there's more love than hate, no matter which way you look at it. And also the light always eventually overtakes the darkness. I'm sitting in this well-lit room right now. I got lights above me, lights around me to keep me well-lit for this camera.
Yeah.
There's no amount of darkness that I can inject into this room to make this room dark. I can't close my eyes and imagine anger and darkness and this room will get dark. This room is going to stay bright no matter what I do. But if I turn these lights off and I turn on the camera light on my phone, the darkness will flee from it instantly, proving again that light has more power than darkness. So the main thing we can focus on with all the hate and the trolling and the anger and the envy and the jealousy and the crooks and the robbers and everybody else going on, coming to attack like a moth to a flame, just maintain. I focus on just maintain being the light, maintain being the change, maintain the high vibration. And if I do that, I will always win. There's nothing anyone can do to stop me.
Indeed. Yeah. Hey, didn't I tell y'all this was going to be an emotionally charged show? This is a good one here tonight, y'all. This is a real good one. Let me ask you this, Billy. All right. So where's this at? because I am a musician. Billy, have you ever gotten into the physics of music?
I've analyzed the wave frequency, understanding the wave and the geometry, the link between the mathematics and the geometry.
So this is related to the question I just asked you, and I'm like, I want to pose this to Billy because I know you're a music producer and you're a physics guy, whatever. So each note, I don't know if you can see. Let me see if I could put this higher on. Let me see. Boy, no, this is even small. Okay, there we go. All right. So each note, like let's say on the piano, I play the note C. C is the frequency. Now we're frequencies, we're music. Our body is an instrument. It's making music. We just can't hear it. A lot of us. So this top wave right here. No, where's it at? Right here.
Yeah, I see it.
That's called in the harmonic series of music, Billy, in music theory. This top wave is the fundamental frequency. So it's the equivalent of me just playing one note on the piano. What we don't know, Billy, is that when we play that one note of the piano, other notes are played simultaneously. These are called harmonics. So these are called harmonics or overtones. And this is what gives this note, this top note, its character, because it's not just a sine wave. We think it's just one note, but every note is really a chord. So just like every man, we think we're one being, but we're really a universe within ourselves. We're really a chord, but we think we're just one note. So what I wanted to ask about the question I just asked is this right here. Let's say this note right here is success. These other notes that they call the harmonics or the overtones, would that be similar to these other frequencies we experience along with this note? Like maybe this is hate, maybe this is support, maybe this is jealousy, maybe this is envy, maybe these different frequencies, because we just want to manifest this top note right here, but we get all this shit down here. And we like, goddamn, why does all of these harmonics come from this one frequency? So the timbre is the character of the note. These notes, somebody said it in the chat.
Yeah.
All of these harmonics, it creates the character that we are or whatever.
Yeah.
So do you think this summarizes what we just talked about? Do you think it's related in any way to what we just talked about?
It's definitely related. I mean, it really is a double entendre to go with this. I mean, one thing is the way you just explained it is actually a good metaphor. And another way to look at it as well is when you're talking about the chord, and this is what we mean, being on one accord. You've ever heard that terminology before, being on one accord?
Yes.
It's talking about the combination of these frequencies creating who you truly are. And so just take a look at how a person, if you take a look at this metaphorically, how a person characteristics and their personality traits are formed. Before you're even born, you are the 1/7. So before you are even born, you are already at the moment of conception, the sperm meets the egg, and there's a spark that goes in, and that's when your soul inhabits these cells and the cell division begins. And at that moment, at that exact precise moment, your programming begins as well. The nutrients inside the mother, whatever she's eating, the sounds, even though you don't even have ears yet, the sounds create vibrations, and those vibrations, they vibrate the cell and the cell membrane. Like Dr. B says, they celebrate to the frequencies around the mother outside of the womb. And so if the mother's in arguments, anger, frustration, even if she's watching TV shows that are about killing and murdering, or even horror shows while you're in that gestation period, she might not even know she's pregnant. All that's having a direct effect on the programming code at the 1/7. And then you move to the 1/6. Now you're an actual embryo, okay? And you're at the beginning of the embryonic stage now. And during this process now, you have more extended, more developed sensory perception, and you're taking in more of the frequencies and the sounds and the programming code coming in from the mother. Also, the RNA has been fully transmitted from the father's RNA going back 15 to 20 generations in epigenetics. So now the epigenetics are settling in on the programming into the new body. You're moving to 1/6, then you're moving up to 1/5. And now here, you're developing into a much bigger form of a fetus. You're hearing, your ears are picking up more frequency and more sound and transmitting through the cochlea to the brain. Even though you're in that fluid known as the womb and the sac and everything, you're still picking up more sound. You can hear classical music. We know that classical music has a very positive effect on a developing embryo. We know that music at 432 and 528 has a very positive effect, even though it's in the womb. But we also know that acid rock and things like that, through scientific experiments, have a very bad effect on the embryo. And then you keep moving up the line all the way until the fact where you come out of the womb and you're getting the programming code from TV, from your parents. You're given a name, you're given a race, you're given a religion, you're fighting that now. All this programming code, the school takes you, they rob you of your identity, they steal all your imagination. And now you've become the note that you see at the top. You become the C. And now you spend your whole life trying to figure out how to maintain a certain level of harmony. Most people never even realize how they got programmed to that point. This is why I started the Forbidden Knowledge Academy. It's all about going to those lower layers in that cord and reprogramming each layer one at a time through the subconscious reprogramming, so you can become the person you're truly destined to be, not the one that you were forced and programmed to be.
Beautiful. Beautifully said, my brother. This is why I'm doing this interview with you today about this subject. Beautifully said. Once again, I see somebody else ask in the chat, if you are tuning in and you noticing a name change, this is not a AI channel. This is not an old interview. This is not a clone channel. This is a new interview. It's just going to take people some time to get used to the name change. I'm going to make sure I send out several emails letting people know about the name change so people won't get confused. But this is Brother Rich channel. We are live right now. This is not an old video. All right. So Billy, one thing I want to do, first of all, like I said, I just can't, that academy, I'm in astonishment with how successful you've become with that academy so far. And it's a testament of your knowledge of this information. Not only do you know how to teach it, but you obviously know how to apply it. So that's dope. And you've taught us so much with Blueprint for God Power. So yeah, shout out to you. I want to ask you this, Billy. One thing I like to do is I like to use, and you got to give me that. No, I think King Simon is sharing your link in the chat. Yeah, shout out to
King Simon has been dropping the link to the academy in the live chat.
Dropping the link. Yes, King Simon's been dropping the link. All right. I love to relate these spiritual topics to current affairs because that's how people really learn. One of the things, you see everything going on right now, Billy. There's a lot going on. Politics with countries, race relations, all that stuff. I want to bring up an individual by the name of DJ Khaled, and DJ Khaled.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you something. So one of the things I noticed, Billy, is if I talk, like my channel is primarily a metaphysical channel, but if I bring up race-related issues, I notice some people would say, oh, this is a low vibrational topic. Mm-hmm. And I noticed that across the board with black channels, if black spiritual channels bring up race-related issues, people would say, oh, it's low vibrational, or even a person on the channel would say, oh, that's low vibrational. That's why I don't talk about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to bring up the example of DJ Khaled. So very extremely successful. Now, spiritual people will consider him financial success to be high vibration. You know, you are living abundantly the way God intended you to live. What I want to ask you about DJ Khaled, this is a man who says absolutely nothing about what's going on in Palestine. I mean, absolutely nothing. And a lot of people are upset at that. A lot of people, just the general public, is upset at that. Mm-hmm. But the spiritual community will say, if he addresses it, that's low vibrational. Mm-hmm. So what I want to ask you is, what's your thoughts on this idea of anytime you discuss race, it being a low vibrational conversation? And is DJ Khaled, do you think, well, I don't want to say do you think he's moving correctly, but do you think his approach, do you think that's a high vibrational approach?
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything you do or anything you say online is going to be judged right away and instantaneously. I think it's important to talk about race as long as you're talking about it in a positive way. That's just my personal opinion. You know, I don't talk about race a lot. Like, it's not my main topic, but I do talk about the epigenetics, how Black people are still suffering till this very day. Just a couple days ago, I was live and I said, if you see a Black person that seems frustrated, angry, or anxious or whatever, don't judge them. Okay, because we're just, you think slavery, you know, is over, but it's still operating within our body. We're still fighting off the traumas from our ancestors. So you got to give us some empathy, like, for real, you know? And so I was just talking about that on the live the other day. So I don't mind talking about race. And yes, it's still going to piss some people off. And I still saw some people jumping in the live chat saying, we're all one race and all this and that. But at the same time, we have to be empathetic towards our brothers and sisters, no matter what race it is. Everyone's dealing with something, right? And so because everyone's dealing with something and everyone has dealt with something in the past, which is affecting the offspring or the generations today, you know, I spread it around, but it's got to be, it's the elephant in the room that nobody wants to talk about because they're afraid to go into this low vibration. I think the key and the trick is to not do it from a supremacy speech and not do it from a place of ego. I try to do it from a place of empathy, from love and explanation and knowledge and wisdom. I still get some people trolling and pissed off about the frequency drop, but the majority of people understand where I'm going and what I'm trying to say. You know, I think that you can defend your race without being a racist. And I think that's where a lot of people miss the boat. I think that they feel like in order to defend our race, that they make statements so boldly in terms of like egotistical statements and statements that are so big in terms of like, we're over you. And that turns us into racists. So to teach people, you have to meet them sometimes where they are. So there's it's a tricky way of wording things. It's psychology, wording things in a way, expressing things with a certain level of energy that can get them to see your point of view without making them offended. And that's one of the reasons why I became so big and why my following or my leaders are so mixed races, because I found a very good technique on how to get my point across without getting too many people thinking that it's low vibrational, but I'm still defending my race at the same time and still representing my race to the highest level of my personal ability, at least I feel that I can do, by showing up in places where we are no Black people, by showing up on TV shows where there are no Black people, showing up at the conferences where there are no Black people, like I did this weekend. And just to be able to represent and bring our version, or at least my version of what I understand, to the mix. The other thing is, dealing with DJ Khaled. Now, DJ Khaled, he follows Forbidden Knowledge on Instagram, and I follow his account as well. I never had any interactions with him or any DMs or any conversations with him. I just follow the brother because I just look at some of the things he's been able to accomplish. Clearly, obviously, he's a Palestinian man, and so people are saying, he hasn't made a statement yet. I've been talking about it for years. You go back on my feed, you'll find stuff about Palestine.
Yeah, you stay talking about it. I'm like, yo, Billy, yeah. I ain't know Billy was on it like that.
Because I don't give a damn. But
you on them small hats, man. Jeez.
You got to look at his situation. He's thinking from his perspective, and I'm not making any excuses for him. I'm just giving you what his perspective might be.
Yeah.
He's in the music industry, and who controls the music industry?
Yeah.
Jews.
Yeah.
Not just Jews, Zionist Jews control the music industry. They're not Jews, they're Zionist Jews. There's a difference. And so these Zionists control the music industry. They're the ones that are in charge of his paycheck, ultimately. Like, his paycheck ain't just going to him straight into his pocket. It's going through a system to get to him. He gets cut a deal, whether that's $100 million or $200 million deal, and he's got to produce this music and he's got to sign artists and so forth. But the money isn't going straight into his pocket from the distribution of Spotify and Apple. They don't cut him a check. They're cutting someone a check above him, and those people above him are not Palestinian. And so considering that, he's got a family and everything else, he's trying to navigate these muddy waters. It might be that he's keeping his mouth shut because he doesn't want to damage his income. I'm just guessing. I don't know that to be any kind of fact whatsoever. I'm only putting myself in his shoes, and I'm not even saying that it's right, because if he had my brain and my mindset, I'd be like, fuck this. I'll go get the money all over again on my own. I got enough popularity. I don't need y'all paycheck. I can go do this on my own. I got my 20 million followers. All I got to do is start my own record label and start from scratch, and I'll have it all back in the blink of an eye. But a lot of people don't have that mindset that I have. They don't have that real Lion King of the jungle mindset. And sometimes they just kind of acquiesce to the status quo and give in to the system and try to play that matrix role. And I don't know if that's what he's doing or not, but just from an outside perspective looking in, he could have one of the biggest voices out here with regards to that situation. But a lot of people are afraid to lose their income. All these rappers that are rapping for these Zionists, you know, they're forcing them to put these crazy lyrics out. They don't want to. A lot of them have said they don't want to rap these songs that you hear them speaking on the radio. They're forced to put that out.
Yeah, I've heard them say that.
But they've already got 30, 40, 50 million followers across social media. They don't even need a label anymore. Let that contract cancel out and start your own independent thing. Go straight to DistroKid and collect your own money. But see, they're programming to believe in that. In order to have the abundance, they got to go through the Zionists. This is where they fail. And so they're now slaves to that system, and they don't see any way out, only because they aren't courageous enough. That's the only reason why they don't see a way out, because they don't have any courage.
Indeed. Let me ask you this, Billy. Why do you think language is a huge part of manifestation? And I definitely appreciate the conversation. And I'm just thinking about your last answer. And I just thought about one of the first interviews me and you did was an interview I named the Space Hebrews.
Yeah.
You remember the Space Hebrews? And that was dope. And I was like, damn, I didn't know Billy was about that life. But anyway, y'all need to check that out. Space Hebrews. Billy did a magnificent job. You need to check that out. Old interview. Yeah. But let me ask you this. So in terms of certain coaches, and you know, we talk about race. Just one more question about race. So-called black people, a lot of when we use slang, because we're talking language and culture, a lot of our slang, we for some reason, Billy, we always use the elements to describe something good. And let me just use an example. So language creates a certain emotion in the body. The emotion in the body is what communicates with the ethers or the quantum field. And what, depending on what you say, it will create a different emotion in your body. Mm-hmm. So for some reason, with what we've been given with this language, we just go back to elements to describe things. So we'll be like, yo, that nigga cold. Or yo, you icy. Or man, I'm chilling. Or yo, I'm gonna make it rain in the strip club. I'm gonna make it. We just keep going back to these elements. Or yo, that's hot, my nigga. Yo, that's hot. Back in the day, they would say, yo, that's John Blaze. Another word for hot. Yo, that's fire. Another word for hot. The newest word for hot. Yo, that's lit. So we're just constantly describing these emotions with elements. Why do you think that is, Billy?
Yeah. Well, you know, the elements are powerful, right? The elements take us back to our ancestral roots, when our ancestors used to operate within the power of the elements, and they had the power to wield those energetic forces of the elements themselves. When you go back tens of thousands of years, our ancestors had a certain level of control over the elements themselves. They would utilize those elements in a way where they can control environment situations. They had powers. They would utilize them for healing, for understanding, for knowledge, for wisdom, understanding, all these different things that we utilize in these elements for. And so it's ingrained within our DNA. It's something that's been passed down from generation to generation through not only through speaking, but handed down history, and also the sages and the wisdom keepers understanding the power of the elements and the forces. You know, we even have put those elements into movies, you know, like that movie that Chris Tucker did, The Fifth Element. Right. So we're used to this elemental talk. And we understand the power of those forces. So when you reference the element in your conversation, you're referencing divine power. And so it adds another level to the conversation, because now you're saying, instead of saying it's good, you're saying it's hot. You're taking the conversation to another level, but you're referencing the power that you understand just innately inside of you, the divine knowledge of the level of the power within those elements themselves.
Indeed. All right. So one thing I've heard you say, Billy, is that when it comes to manifesting things, we should be specific, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick, Billy. Okay. So let's say I want a job, my dream job, Billy, right? Let's say somebody says, I'm gonna go the specific route. I was on the internet. I seen this ad for a job that I think I absolutely love. It sounds like a dream job. So I'm gonna focus on it. And that person focuses and meditates on that dream job. Let's say another person who's looking for their dream job says, all right, I want my dream job. I don't have anything specific, but I'm just going to imagine being happy. I'm just going to imagine the air flowing, blowing my hair, or being on the beach. And I'm going to imagine just relaxation. I don't know. I'm not specific with it, but the other person is like, I'm specifically want this job. Now, the person who wants that job gets that job and they get fired immediately. It's not what they thought it was. The person who was vague, the universe managed to give them not what they wanted, but what they needed. So what I want to ask you in that situation, is being specific a good approach all the time? Because we don't know what we don't know, Billy. So if we don't know what we don't know, should being vague be an approach sometime, and being specific should be an approach sometime. What's your thoughts on that example, my brother?
I think always being specific exactly what you want. Even though that person thought exactly specifically about the job that they wanted, they went and put the action behind the conscious thought. They multiplied that action and went out and had a great interview, and then got that job and got hired, and then got there and realized it wasn't what they wanted. What they did was they got a realization, and they got a life lesson to learn. In other words, they did two things. One is they learned how to manifest something. They achieved something, which is great, and they should celebrate that. The second thing is they got there and realized it wasn't their passion. It wasn't exactly what they thought it was. So now they can X something else off the list that they're not passionate about, to go back to their passion list. I tell people all the time, get a piece of paper. There's something I teach in the academy. Get a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, write down all the things that you would like, you feel passionate about and you would like to do for a living. And on the right-hand side, then organize those things by order of priority, even if you don't know how to do them yet, but put them in order of priority, because now once you get that list of like the top 5, top 10, you've got to learn how to go out and execute and be the expert or the best at those things on that other side of the page, and figure out which ones you're going to go after, being very specific. Now, you know what your passion is now. You understand things that you're passionate about that would make you feel happy and fulfilled on the inside if you did these things as something that you did to help the world. Now you have to find a need for those passions. This is the tricky part, right? Finding a need for the passion. Who needs what you're passionate about doing? And when you find a person or a company that needs that passion, whether it's a service or a product you can provide, now you exchange your energy with them. You exchange the passion with them. They exchange with you energy in the form of money. Money is a side effect of an energy exchange. You don't chase money, you exchange energy. But if you exchange energy within something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work, and you'll always be happy. I just traveled 5,600 miles in 3 days, and I worked in 4 states. Something that would crush and exhaust somebody. It wouldn't even have enough energy to be on this video with you for 2 hours tonight. But I'm here, and I'm excited about it. All right? For real. Why am I here? Why didn't I say, Rich, man, I'm beat up, bro. I can't get on this video tonight. But I'm here with full energy, full force, awake and aware. Why? Because I'm passionate about it. And I know that the people that are listening to your platform, they came, and this is my energy exchange. I have something that some of the people on there, not all of them, but some of them want to hear what I have to say. And so I'm exchanging my passion with them. And as long as I continue to do that, I don't feel like I'm even working. This is just part of my normal life purpose. And so if people go out and seek their passion, become good at what they love to do, and then exchange that with somebody else in the world, that money will be the side effect in their account. Money is only an energy exchange. The secret to making money is to find a need and fill it. And if you can do that over and over again, you will be abundant. It doesn't mean you'll be a billionaire, but all your payments, all your bills will be paid, and you will be a very happy person.
Somebody said, great answer. Yeah, this is why he gets paid the big bucks, because he knows what he's talking about. This is a sharp brother right here. You know, I'm just throwing questions out there. Want to play devil's advocate, and Billy do his thing. Billy ain't no joke. He's very sharp. at what he do. So yeah, shout out to my brother Billy. Billy, let me ask you this. One of the things that often gets overlooked in the circle in the culture of manifestation and creating your own reality or the law of attraction, whatever term we want to use, is the idea of body language. We stress language, actual language, more than body language. What I want to ask is, one of the things people talk about, that they do talk about with body language, is smiling. You will hear people say, they might have said it in a secret or what the bleep do you know, they talked about smiling and how smiling creates certain chemicals. That approach never worked for me. A forced smile never seemed to work for me. I didn't like how I felt forcing a smile. But what I want to ask you about is, how important is the body language of, and this doesn't get talked about much, of walking? So with walking, you usually have a strut, a stride, and a lot of the interesting thing about walking, Billy, is that smiling is acceptable culturally. So you can fake smile all you want, but it's accepted so people don't seem out of place. But if you're walking down the street and you got a strut or a stride or whatever they call it, and you just, you got a bop, people look at you like, why is he walking like that? Or why is she walking like that? Or what's wrong with them? Well, why are they doing that? So people won't do it out of fear of being criticized from the masses or whatever. But I want to ask you, what are we holding ourselves back from walking in our natural rhythm, whether it's a strut or whether it's a bop or whatever it may be? And the reason why this is interesting, Billy, real quick, the people I've seen who got the biggest who walks, like, who got the biggest strut, or what, you know who it is? Take a guess. Who you think? It's not an intellectual answer at all. It's not an intellectual answer. Who would you say?
Is somebody I know?
Walk like they don't.
Is it 19 Keys?
Well, Billy, no, 19 Keys does it.
He does it.
Shout out 19 Keys. He has a godly walk.
Yeah,
so
he does.
Keys, he has a godly walk. Yeah. But my answer is, it has nothing to do with being godly. Pimps.
Oh,
you ever seen pimps walk, Billy? Pimps like, shit, nigga, shit. They like, Billy, they walk so, you be like, a pimp from a mile away, Billy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the black exploitation or whatever you call that. They be like, shit, and they walk, you think they about to fall over, they walk so, you know what I'm saying? They get what they want. And you like, how does this dude in this colorful outfit, this dude looks like a clown, and he walks and he talks poetically. How does he hypnotize all these women? So talk to me about the importance. This is something that gets overlooked with manifestation. The point of all of that is the importance of how you walk and how your walk, Billy, how your walk communicates with the ethers, my brother.
You walk as, what people don't realize is that walk a lot of the times is your inner self exposing on your outer self. So, how you walk usually can expose how you're feeling on the inside.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but a lot of the times people walk in the way that they actually feel. Okay. So if you see somebody walking and their shoulders are slumped over and their head's kind of down and they're kind of walking slow, you can automatically assume that person might be feeling down or sad, right? They may be going through some troubled times. You see somebody walking shoulders back, head up, chest out, and walking pretty strong, you can assume that person is a pretty confident person. Right. You see somebody walking by you and they're not trying to make any eye contact. They're trying to make sure their eyes don't connect with your eyes. You might want to assume that person walking by you is a very shy person, right? Or maybe they have something to hide. So you can learn a lot from the way that a person actually presents themselves and how they walk. Now, when you see our people are very colorful, man. So when you see the pimps, right, and you see how they're walking, they're projecting their inner ego outside. So they're projecting their rhythm, what's going on inside of them, because as within, so without. It applies to everything. It's a hermetic principle. Really, it's an ancient Kemetic principle that later picked up by the Greeks and became the Hermetic principles much later, thousands of years later. But it's an ancient Kemetic principle. And so this inner self, their inner self now is manifesting on the outside, because everything on the inside of us, it manifests on the outside. If you're a person in a lot of chaos, frustration, if you look at a person with that mindset and look at their surroundings, you'll find a lot of paper strewn around, disorganization, dishes stacked up in the sink, dirty clothes on the floor. That's their inside manifesting on the outside. When you see these pimps and the way they're walking and how they're moving and everything else, they're projecting their ego. And what happens is these women that are into that street life, that ego for them in some weird way, it means safety, security, and like this man can take care of my situation. He's gonna bless me. He's gonna be able to control the situation, and he's gonna be able to take care of me. And so they pick up on that energy, and they have this energy exchange where they like a moth to a flame. Like I talked earlier, they flock to that ego because of the way this person is presenting themselves. I know it's very strange, but it's a true human thing that happens. And so it's nothing but that. Now, when we're walking, there's something that really does happen that's amazing. When you're walking and you're focusing on something, you're focusing on something you want to manifest and bring into your reality. As your left leg moves forward and your right hand moves, as your left leg moves forward, and your left hand moves back, you activate the right hemisphere of your brain. And as your right leg moves forward and your other hand moves back, now all of a sudden you're activating left hemisphere, right hemisphere. You're doing something without even knowing it called the hemisync, which we talked about before, I think, Rich, in a workshop and a podcast on this channel.
Yep.
And so you're activating hemispheric changes in the brain, left, right. And scientists and even the CIA funded a project called the hemisync, where they realized that if you hyper focus on something that you want to manifest while you're activating the left and right hemisphere of the brain and playing binaural beats is like an Edit Plus, you can have a better success in creating that reality, like literally bending reality to your will in this type of thing, which is what I've been doing for so many decades, doing this 5-mile meditation walk and using it to manifest a lot of things in my life, whether it's producing a song, whether it's coming up with new ideas for business, making money, new ideas for workshops, classes, or just getting epiphanies from the universe directly. The hemisync meditation walk for me is a mandatory thing. I have to do it almost at least 2 to 3 times a week. So if something is miraculous is happening when we go for these walks, we're actually activating the left and right hemisphere. And maybe for those pimps, the way they're activating it, they're manifesting hoes. That's what's happening with them.
Wow. Billy, let me ask you this. Like, yo, family, Billy's really sharp. And there's certain questions that I ask. I gotta know who to ask them to, and I'm glad I can ask certain questions like this to a brother like Billy Carson, because he's that good that he can answer all of these questions. So I appreciate all the compliments in the chat with the Q&A. They loving the Q&A, but I really got to give a lot of credit, because it's like if we was playing basketball and I make this amazing assist, the person got to dunk it. Like, let's say I go all this fancy stuff and I throw the ball and nobody's I'm looking this way, but I'm throwing the ball that way. It's up to the person that I'm throwing the ball to make me look good. So if they miss the pass, I don't look that good. But if they make the dunk, they're like, oh my God, that was an amazing assist. So his ability to answer these questions, it really brings more spotlight on the questions. So I appreciate you being so dedicated to your craft, brother. It's a beautiful conversation that we're having tonight, my brother. And I would advise everybody to, to sign up to the Brothers Academy. I think the brother's a genius, and
thank you.
And what he does, and just being around him, observing him, and talking to him, you can learn a lot. So, once again, King Simon is sharing a link in the chat. And when it comes to finances, this is one of the brothers that in our community that we need to be around and talk to. Okay.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
it. Real quick before we continue, somebody said not manifesting hoes. Yeah, Billy's uncensored tonight. Billy uncensored. It's Billy uncensored, y'all.
It's forbidden after dark.
It's after dark, man. But we got about I don't want to keep the brother Billy too long.
Yeah.
About 15 more minutes. Billy, but I gotta ask the brother these questions about manifestation. And all right. Let's say we're watching a movie, Billy. And in the movie, the person's voice, they're talking, and underneath them talking, it's the background music, and it's low. But you hear it, it's there. Even in certain podcasts or certain shows you may do, your network, your streaming network, when people are talking, you may have the like Gaia, you may have the music very low. It creates drama and suspense and all this stuff. When it comes to manifesting, Billy, because they say the brain can't distinguish reality from imagination. So that's happening in reality, what we call reality. Now, let's say Billy Carson or Richard Merritt is imagining something. If we're playing music, Billy, should we also have our music low at a certain volume like they do in the movies? Because the decibel that we have the music at is very important, because the music shouldn't drown out the sounds of our thoughts. So should the level, the volume of the background music that we may play during our imagination, does it affect our ability to imagine the same way the decibel affects the message that is portrayed in the movies, my brother?
Yeah, I agree with that 1000%. I believe that sometimes we play music too loud. And this is something that has been a big pet peeve of mine for a long, long time. You're the first person to ever ask me this question. You're the first for a lot of questions, though. So, listen, when I can't stand going into a restaurant and the music is so loud, I got to scream at my guests.
Right.
I can't stand when I used to go to clubs, the music is so loud, I leave out of there with a sore throat because I got to scream the whole night and I can't barely hear what someone's saying. And I walk out with my ears ringing. To me, that's not pleasant. There's no joy. That's why I stopped going. There's no joy and satisfaction coming out of that. To me, it's nothing but turmoil and trauma. There's a certain level you can play those same songs out at and get a certain level of enjoyment out of them and still be loud enough to be able to hear everything that's going on. When I do my meditations in the morning, I go out on my back patio upstairs, overlooking the lake, and I have a TV that comes down out of the ceiling outside on the patio, and I put my meditation and turn the speakers on in the ceiling, and I sit there but I play that meditation music at a level that I can still hear the bird song of the birds in the morning, the real birds that are outside. Okay. I want to hear the bird song. I want to hear the stream. I want to hear the meditation music all at the same time. So I'm taking all this chorus in at once, right? This symphony of life, not just an overpowering gong and a sound bowl and all this stuff to the point where I can't even barely think. It's distracting my meditation. It's got to be a certain balance to everything in life. And I think that music is definitely something that we need to have within balance. It could be loud, but not overbearing. Anything that you do that's too much of is no good. You could take a meditation song and play it so loud, you get nothing out of it. If I go get 5 gallons of water while I'm on this live video, now we know our body is made of 70% water. We need water to survive, right? Right. But if I go get 5 gallons of water right now and drink it live on this video, I will be unalive before this video ends, because I will actually liquidate myself. I will actually flush out my bloodstream, and I will have too much, thin out my blood so much, I will lose pressure and I would actually pass away right here on this live video. Water can actually take you out. So too much of anything, even the stuff that we need, is not good. So the volume, to me, very, very important. Going to these places where they're blasting the music so loud you can't even think straight and you got to scream all night. To me, that's detrimental to the human body, the mind, and the soul, even the cells in your body.
Love it, love it, love it. Appreciate the answer and the personal examples. Really appreciate it. Couple of more questions, about 2 or 3 more questions, Billy, before we get out of here. What sound, Billy? This is a personal answer. This is an intellectual answer, Billy, because I love asking Billy, because Billy's so intellectual. I love asking Billy questions that they would consider non-intellectual, even though it might be full of wisdom, which this question is full of wisdom. Intellectually speaking, when we say affirmations, we have a certain list. I am wealthy, I am rich, I am happy, I am healthy. We say certain things that we are taught to say, or even certain ancient Kemetic phrases say, and I don't want to imitate it because I'll get it all wrong, but they may be ancient Kemetic phrases that we may say based on how we want to feel. What I want to ask you, Billy, is what sound would you use personally? You've been on this earth over 50 years. Yeah. What sound, based on your life experience, if we're constantly communicating with the quantum field and with the ethers, and the ethers and the quantum field is responding to what we give it. When we speak, we're given an instruction. What sound, if you had to make a sound that wasn't based on language, what sound would you communicate with the ethers of just pure joy and happiness? Would you make, Billy?
The primordial ohm.
The ohm?
That's my frequency. I have a song that I put out called 111 ohms, and it's in 432 hertz, and it's me ohming 111 times. Ohm is a primordial frequency. It is the sound of the voice of God. It is the word of God that went out in the beginning to create everything. They put the ohm, they put that on a speaker on a Chladni plate. The Chladni plate had sand on top, and it began to see that frequency creates reality. It moves the sand into sacred geometrical structures depending on the frequency of the actual ohm. Ohm is an actual primordial sound that has a symbol. That symbol looks like a little 3 with a little quote at the top right. It's not a letter. It's not a hieroglyph. It's a complete understanding. It is an understanding, a primordial understanding of the vibration and the frequency that emanates all life into existence through the flower of life pattern, through the intersections of the circles called the Vesica Pisces. It's the womb. It's a sound that emanates from the womb of creation itself. And so that's one of the best sounds for me to get me into transcendental state, to get me in a hyper-focused state, is that primordial ohm. That mantra is powerful. And when I get on these long flights, like I got to hop on a flight in a few days for 24 hours going to Egypt, I'm going to play probably for 5 or 6 hours the ohm. I'm going to take my 111 ohm track and put it on repeat on Spotify. And I'm probably going to do 10,000 ohms, well, in my ears. And because it just gets me into a frequency and it gets me into a state of mind where I can really see dimensions, the sacred geometry, things that I've been pondering about come easy to me. Solutions to problems pop up in my head, and I download them and discern them easier. And so you're just sitting there, on this airplane with nowhere to go. And so I like to do 1/3 of my time on these long flights. At least 1/3 of my time is in meditation. And the only time I get interrupted is sometimes the flight attendant, which I can't stand, come over to me and tap me on the shoulder. But that's what I do. And that primordial ohm is the frequency and the sound that I utilize to interact with this universe.
And I'm glad just to be like, we're having a great conversation tonight, Billy. And with the ohm, one thing I read one time, read a shitload of books, Billy. Yeah. One thing I read one time is that the ohm, I don't know if I will call it a mistranslation, but it's it came from the So the ohm was originally the but they added the ohm on top of the And if you notice, when let's say you have a good meal, let's say you having sex, let's say certain things that you do. See, Billy, this is the beautiful thing about life in this conversation. Yeah. There's certain things we do that we just naturally say a certain sound. So let's say the and that's the only sound where you don't open up your mouth. Like the ohm or any other sound you open, that M, that I think it's a 13th letter, if I'm not mistaken. It's the only sound that your mouth is closed. It's that it's the only sound where your mouth stays closed. But what's interesting, Billy, what I always said to myself, because I hear a lot of people talk about the ohm, and what I always said to myself, Billy, tell me your opinion about this, my brother, is that, all right, if ohm and these like fancy words are like words to communicate, why I don't naturally say them? And when I observe my son, like my son, I remember when he was like 3 years old, and one time he got in the shower and he was like, like the hot water hit him, and he was like, like that was like nobody taught him that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That also, I don't want to keep using sex, but or even if you drink water, let's say you play basketball for 30 minutes, Billy, you're not saying ohm after like naturally, Billy, shit. Yeah. Even shit comes out like the shit. Like that just comes out. So I'm just, I always wonder that. And I just want to get your opinion about the or the like these sounds that we're not taught, but a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old just naturally says them. What's your thoughts on that, my brother?
Well, one of the misconceptions we have as human beings is that we are born completely ignorant. That's actually not true. We are born with a certain level of knowledge, and a lot of the knowledge that we gain as we grow is only remembering information that already existed, right? Because it's all within us. Everything is stored within our DNA and our atoms. The scientists have actually proved this now. And so everything that we need to know is already inside of us and inside of our genes as well.
Right.
It's just that we have this thing growing into this human form where we have to be re-taught everything from scratch.
Right.
But the knowledge and the wisdom and the understanding of what we're being re-taught is still within our body. And some of the natural primordial sounds from the sounds of creation, the natural harmonies that exist within the vibratory universe, like and those frequencies, they're already innate within us. So we don't even have to think about them. Those are natural responses as we come from the field. We are born and manifested in this energetic field called the universe in this third dimension. And those frequencies and vibrations, even from string theory, are emanating within us from the whole cell division process through mitosis and everything. And so when we finally get to that point where these are some natural vibrations that we just acquiesce to because they're already innate within us. We don't have to think about them. They already exist. It's just part of the natural flow.
Indeed. Yeah, I always find that very interesting. Like even if I'm on vacation, I'm in the ocean, first word that may come out my mouth, Billy, is it's just like a release that so it's like shit, man. I might name God if I had to create a language. And
the Arabs name God Allah.
Don't tell Wesley Muhammad that. Don't tell Wesley that. He'd be like, I told you, my brother. Shout out to Wes. Damn, Billy said Allah. Damn. Shit,
Yahweh.
Yeah.
A lot of people call God,
yeah. Wow. We getting somewhere tonight, y'all. We getting somewhere with this conversation tonight. Once again, family, King Simon is sharing a link. We're about to close it out. Wow, what a beautiful, amazing conversation. Transparent, educational, just brilliant conversation took place tonight. Make sure you share it with your friends and family. Last question, I guess. I don't know, Billy. Where should I go right now, Billy? With such a good conversation, I'm trying to think, where should I go, Billy? Let me ask you this. Let me get a little I don't know if this is complex or this is out there. All right, and I can ask you this because of what you talk about. All right, you ready, Billy? They say our cells are sentient, right?
Yeah.
In fact, they say they compare cell to self. So our self, they consider us cells in a greater body. We're in a greater body called the universe. So we're like the same way we're in the universe. They say our cells we're the universe to ourselves. If that's the case, Billy, in our world, in our realm, Billy, if there's somebody acting up, let's say there's a 20-year-old and he's robbing people, doing all types of shit. They say the best way, if your child is acting out of place, Billy, they say the best thing to do, don't just throw them in jail or don't just disregard their feelings or don't just, do whatever. Talk to them, listen to them. So if our cells are sentient, and if we could compare ourselves to that 20-year-old acting up, if our cells act out and we're at dis-ease, it's at this, they call it dis-ease, and we're experiencing pain. How do we listen to ourselves? How do we talk to ourselves to understand why we experience this pain the same way we would talk to a 20-year-old who's out there robbing, stealing, or disobeying their parents or cutting school or doing whatever they do? If we do that in the real world with our youth, how do we do that to ourselves so ourselves can stop acting out to us in pain, my brother Billy?
That's actually a really good question. And the reason why I think it's a great question, actually, a great question. The reason why I think it's a great question is because everything is a fractal,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Everything's a fractal. So you're talking about metaphors now. You're talking about the inner world and the outer world and how we respond to the outer world. If you look at how we treat our youth, we meaning parents treat our youth, especially in our community, we use the slave tactic. So we'll beat the crap out of them. We'll call them out of their name. We'll slap them upside the head. We grab them. We jack them up. We push them around. We slap them in the face and all these kind of things. And so now take the same metaphor you're telling me about, and let's talk about the cells in our body. Let's pretend that the cells in our body are these adolescents that are acting out, causing us these pain and giving us this dis-ease, which is turning into disease.
Right.
And so are we going to go into our body and do the same thing to the cells as we would with our own offspring? No, we're not going to, beat, slap, and curse out. If you are talking to your body in a negative way, that negative cymatic frequency proven by science is going to have a direct effect on the cells in your body and create more malformed cells, which turns into cancer.
Okay.
And because our body is 70% water. So they did an experiment, Masaru Emoto did the water experiment and discovered that if you bless the water, if you talk proper to the water, empathy and love, then the water is going to form proper crystallization. If you talk negative, hate, darkness to the water, then the water is going to become malformed and uncrystallized. So when you do that to your body, when you're speaking negatively, if you're going to try to curse your own self, it's a double-edged sword. You're going to create more trauma, more malformed cells, more cancer, more pain. So you don't want to treat yourself the same way we're treating our offspring. So if we take that as a metaphor and realize we should have more self-care, more self-love, more empathy for ourselves, treat ourselves better, get out in nature, get vitamin D from the sun, and all these things that we're supposed to do. Take our supplements, do our exercise, take care of our bodies, eat the proper foods, try to reduce the amount of toxic input from the foods that we are taking. And that includes reducing smoking and everything else so we can be the best version of ourselves at all times. We try to take care and love this vessel that we're in. If we do that to give ourselves the best chance to celebrate, like Dr. B says, then why aren't we treating our offspring and our adolescents out there the same exact way, and our children the same exact way? We've got to treat them like we would treat our own vessel.
Right.
And if we do that, we'll see a change not only within ourselves, but also in the world.
Brilliant, 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 my brother. I want to thank you once again for coming on the show.
Thank you, man.
Shout out to King Simon for sharing the brother's link. Let the family know once again, for those who may have came in late, you're doing something magnificent, Billy, and I want the people to know about it. Not only do you have classes, you are an amazing example. Like I talked to you on the phone, like Billy got this the Mamba mentality. So it's contagious. So be aware, if you sign up to his academy, his Mamba mentality is very contagious. You might get infected in a good way, if you get what I'm saying. Tell the people what you got going on, my brother, right now.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, appreciate it. I have the Forbidden Knowledge Academy. It's also 4bkacademy.com is a short version of the domain, or the link that King Simon has been blessing me with by dropping the link in the live chat the whole time, or 4bkacademy.com. And this academy right now is 1,250 people. They're students, but they're also teachers. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. We're both the students and the teachers. And there's 150 hours of classes, modules that you have to graduate to get to the highest level. And even when you get there, then there's more. And I'm recording on a consistent basis and creating more classes. I go live in the academy. I teach, I mentor you. I do Q&As with you. Training sessions with you. There's exercises and sheets you download, worksheets you got to print out, fill out, and then post. Everything that you post within the academy is supported by the group. So you find your tribe. If you go on Facebook and post a declaration page or post one of these exercises that I give you in the academy on a regular old Facebook account, you get 10 likes. If you post a plate of food or a cat jumping over your head, you get 100 likes. So that's not really your tribe, not for the tribe for abundance and success and legacy building. But you go inside the academy and you post the same thing, you're going to get dozens, maybe sometimes hundreds of people commenting, supporting, uplifting. And if you make a comment there, I'm feeling down today, or I'm not doing that well, or I haven't been able to achieve this, or I haven't been able to finish this project that Billy gave me, the people are going to look at you and they're going to lift your head up inside that academy. They're going to be there to support you, but also hold you accountable, which is something that we don't see online. The engagement in there is extreme. 18 to 20,000 individual engagements per day with only 1,250 people. That's an incredible amount of engagement in a very small group. So it's talking about finding a tribe, being around 1,200 people that's on the same frequency as you. If you look left and right where you are sitting right now, you probably don't have anybody you can talk to about these topics that I'm teaching in that academy. But when you join and you get inside the academy, you have 1,250 leaders there to talk to, support you, and vibe with. So it's a great place to find your tribe. If you're interested, it's 4bkacademy.com. King Simon been dropping the link in the live chat all night. Thank you, King Simon.
Indeed, indeed. Shout out to King Simon. Billy, I appreciate my brother, and I'm gonna talk to you soon, my brother.
Yeah,
I want to come on your channel with the to talk about the AI workshop.
Yes, we're gonna get that date to you tonight. I'm gonna get it to you right now. I'm gonna text you.
Excellent, my brother. I will talk to you soon, my brother. Have a good night.
All right, peace.
All right, peace, my brother. For those who are asking about the cigars, let me share the link one more time. Let me see where the link is. I seen somebody ask. Let me just share this before I get out of here. If you are interested in the cigars, or the link for the cigars isn't working. Oh, sure. Somebody said, I don't think that link was working. Is you talking about for the cigars? I'm not sure. Regardless, family, I'm about to get out of here, but listen, family, make sure you tell. So, somebody said, is this Black Magic 363? Yes. It's very confusing for a lot of people. I understand. I changed the name of the channel, and people don't know that this is the channel. They think that maybe it's an old video, maybe it's just a video. It's a channel that's repurposing content. Maybe it's an AI channel. Maybe it's a clone channel. Maybe it's a spam channel. But this is the actual channel. I just changed the name of the channel. I'm rebranding. I'm going in a certain direction. So I changed the name of the channel, and I understood what that meant. And I understood a lot of people were going to be confused, but I knew there's something that I had to do, and I wanted to do around my birthday. That's something that I wanted to do around. I had to do it around my birthday. Yeah. Somebody said Empire State of Mind. Yeah, I'm in the Empire State of Mind right now. I'm glad you said that, because Alicia Keys song Hove. Yeah, I'm in the Empire State of Mind right now, and just something I had to do. I agree 1,000%, Isaiah. Isaiah said, Rich, you're probably gonna have to make yourself an intro video in short saying this changes. Yeah, I agree 1,000%, Isaiah. Because this has been, Black Magic has been a channel name for the last 12 years or something like that. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to I agree. So my King Simon said, King, this has been a very I'm plotting, I'm planning, and I'm building for this year, King Simon. So many ideas. Like this year has really been about me, brainstorming and just coming up with some, oh my God, like some amazing things. So King Simon, I would say this is what this year has entailed. Somebody said, how much is we donating? Yeah, 50. It's 30 the cigars. If you donate 30 or better, it guarantees you a cigar. And of course, the more you donate, the more cigars I will gift you with. It's a gift. I'm building a channel. I'm investing in I'm investing in all types of stuff. All types of stuff. So I got the cigars. Let me show y'all. Real quick. Let me show you. Oh shit. So I keep them in here. If you keep them in here, they're fresh. So this, you call this a humidor. And it has a temperature on it. What does that say? 72. So the temperature in here right now is 72%. This is what keeps them fresh. So when they get to you, they're nice and fresh. Let me share that link again. Yeah, anybody who donated last week, I'm sending out the shipment this Friday. No, somebody said, are those cigars organic? Well, nicotine is not bad. It's not the nicotine, it's the chemicals that they put in the nicotine. So yes, it is nicotine. But that's not the part that's bad. I would advise you to do a deep dive on nicotine tonight on the internet. But nicotine isn't the thing. They got over 10,000 chemicals in the cigars and cigarettes in the United States. But you can't even get this in the city in Honduras. You got to go to the coast. And these right here are 100% tobacco. And in fact, the average person doesn't have access to these. A lot of the shamans in Honduras utilize these. The shamans use these for ritual purposes. Family, I've never came across something so beneficial in my life I'm not a shroom guy. I don't do shrooms. I've tried it. It's cool, but I'm more of a tobacco guy. I'm like the tobacco chief out here. So, went all the way to Honduras on the plane, brought it back on the plane, and yeah, it's dope. It's dope to be tapped in like that. It's dope for the people in Honduras to gift me with these, and I feel. Let me close this. Yeah, but I keep them nice and fresh. But like I said, I just told the family last week that I got them, and yeah, it's dope. It's dope. So yeah, if you want, let me share the link again. If you want, let me see. Let me share this link. Where is it at? Here we go. Hold up. Yeah, if you want to get somebody said I donated in May and never received mine. You would have to send me your transaction ID number if you was on PayPal or your Cash App, and I will investigate it and yeah, see what's going on, whether it was the wrong address. This is the thing, family. Make sure you have your address right. I had somebody who I sent them a cigar and it was the wrong address. And they're like, yeah, would you send it to this address? This is a physical product. Imagine buying something from a store and you just like, yeah, well, send me another. Like, no, it don't work like that. Like, you have to get your address right. I can't send out multiple. If you get your address wrong, that's on you, family. Like, I can't just, well, send it here. Like, it don't work like that. I'm not saying you did that, Libra Goddess, but I have had that happen. But send me your transaction ID number, whether it's PayPal or Cash App. I stopped using Cash App altogether. There's a specific link that I'm using now. So, and I'm sharing that right now. But yeah, Libra, send me your and I'm gonna share my email right now, because I still got my receipts, Libra, for those who I send out cigars to, so I could tell where I sent it to. So I just shared my email, Libra, and I'm gonna see if I sent you it or not, depending on your transaction ID. So yeah, send me anybody send the transaction ID, whether it's PayPal or Cash App, and I'll check it out. All right. Yeah. Somebody said research vaping there heavy. Yeah, I don't do the vaping thing. I definitely don't do the vaping thing. I definitely don't do the. Somebody said shrooms gonna tap you in. Yeah, no, shrooms is it. Shrooms is powerful. Like, I be hearing the stories from Cambada and shit, and I'm like, wow, but it's just not for me. It's not for me. You can see, this is the thing. Like, you can't listen to anybody in this world and follow them. You got to know what's for you. So people will talk about ayahuasca, like, that's dope, but right now, that's not for me right now. Ayahuasca is not for me right now. Shrooms are not for me right now. You know what I'm saying? Weed ain't for me right now. None of that is for me right now. So it's just about knowing who you are. That's it. And it may work amazing on you. You know what I'm saying? But that's not for me right now. My brother, like I said, my brother can't bother. This dude, he be tapping in with that stuff. So shout out to him. But that's not for me. You know, I tried, like I said, I tried. It's not for me. So I just don't deal with it. But I found something that is for me, and that's the tobacco. I feel like my spirit resonates with the tobacco a million times, 1,000 times, a million times more than shrooms and ayahuasca and everything else they got going on. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I shared the link. Let me share it one more time. Give me a question before anybody else, because I've seen a couple of people. I'm glad I was able to share my email, and I'll investigate and see what's going on. If anybody ordered, because sometimes I leave a link and y'all order from an old PayPal link and stuff like that, and I don't see it. So I'm gonna look into it. Matter of fact, I'll look into it tonight. Somebody said, have you tried? What's your thoughts on Happy, the shamanic stuff made with ceremonial Amazonian tobacco? Oh man, I've heard of it. I don't think I've tried that. No. Well, I forgot the name of the thing I tried. That took me to a realm of laughter. It wasn't the Happy, it was something else. Bufu, that was the Bufu, I think. No, so I never tried that. I've heard about it. But yeah, I don't know too much about that. Yeah, I don't know too much about that. Listen, man, there's some stuff that you will tap in. I'm just saying that's not for me right now, but there's some powerful stuff. I'm not 5 years from now, I may do some ayahuasca, but you just gotta know, and it's not about being advanced or not advanced. It's just about respecting where you are. You know what I'm saying? I respect where I'm at right now. I definitely respect where I'm at. Yeah, Bufu is frog venom. It's definitely it's frog venom. Yeah, I heard that. I need the info for the trip for Egypt. Yeah, we haven't shared that. Yeah, we're gonna start promoting that again. Probably in December. I will start sharing that link again in December. So if you're interested in Egypt, I shared it already. A lot of y'all didn't sign up, so I was wondering if y'all were still interested. But I'm gonna start sharing the link again in December and see what happens. All right, so that'll be available in December. Somebody say you smoke weed? No, I do not. No, I'm not a weed guy. I'm not a weed guy. No, I'm not a weed guy. I'm gonna be back on Wednesday though. I'm gonna be back on Wednesday. I would advise everybody to sign up to Patreon. I got an awesome, amazing video. You know what's funny? You know what's interesting? Well, I ain't gonna say it. Somebody sent me something of that. All right. Let me get out of here. Somebody said, who's this calling me? Who is this calling me at? What time is it? 11 o'clock at night. I should pick it up on the live, but I'm not going to pick it up. Shit, I forgot what I was about to say. The phone call done messed up my no, it didn't. I will remember. Okay, let me read this question. Will the future 363 Empire expansion include children books, animation, and gear thing? Yeah, it includes a lot. You know, well, the next era, like the next era in my life is I'm really focused on being a spiritual businessman. And I meant to say that while Billy was on the show. And I just always looked at myself as just being this interviewer who asks great questions. And you know, it was really when Billy I got nominated for the Entrepreneur of the Year, and I'm like, I am an entrepreneur, and I'm like, oh shit. And it's not like I'm broke or anything like that. Like, you know, I'm you know, I'm good. You know, my family's, I'm great. I'm not good. I'm great actually, and my family's great, and you know, I provide amazingly for my family. But I was just so much into the idea of just being this amazing person who asks questions that I never really like looked at the whole scope of it. And I gotta organize things and I gotta get things together. So like children books, even with like merch, like people have talked to me. Listen, I've turned down, like if y'all knew how much money I've turned down in the last, just say 5 years, with merch, with promoting people, with affiliate links, with, I mean, so much. Oh my God, I've turned down so much because I just, you know, I've been in chill mode. I've just been, I don't know, I work hard. I don't want to say I don't work hard, but certain things are, you know, not that important at certain times, and then at certain times they're more important. But building, I really got to build this empire at this point because I see what's happening with the internet, and they're making a move and they're about to shut the internet down or make it a certain way. And I got to have things in order. So I got to get a lot of things in order that I have neglected. So I'm building the empire, and I'm in the empire state of mind. It's a 363 empire. And yeah, I got to look at myself as that, you know, and a part of being a spiritual businessman is, you know, knowing integrity and knowing what resonates with you. And that's one of the reasons why I turned down so much, is because those things just didn't resonate with me at the time. But I look forward, because of AI is making it so easy to build certain things for yourself. And even getting into radionics, like I'm getting into the whole radionics thing. There's a lot coming up on this channel, like, yo, a lot. Like, I've taken a mental break this year. 2026 is going to take off. Like, wow. Wait till y'all see what I have in store for 2026. It was like and then, like I said, because my daughter was born, it was like a rest period for me mentally for the most part this year. But wow, there's some huge, humongous, the biggest the channel has ever been, the biggest my brand has ever been is coming real soon. But yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm thankful. So with that, you know, just had to rebrand myself, even with my name, Radiohead Rich. I just came up with that name this year. You know, and even that, you know, I was done with the whole black magic phase, and that was dope, and I've created so much success with that. But, you know, just moving forward, just being internally happy, that's the most important thing, being internally happy. Like, I knew me changing the name of the channel, it was going to take a hit because people wouldn't be able to find it, and YouTube was like, we're going to take away your check, and the check lets people know that you're authentic, you know. But I'm like, I don't care, man. I just want to move how I want to move. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got into entrepreneurship in the first place, to move how I want to move. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, listen, I thank y'all. Make sure y'all sign up for Patreon. Make sure y'all get your cigar. Make sure y'all sign up for the AI workshop that's happening November 1st and November 2nd. So many things coming up. Shout out to Billy Carson once again for coming on the show. Shout out to King Simon in the chat, and shout out to all of y'all in the chat who have been supporting, showing love, writing, keeping the chat popping. Yeah, but let's connect. Like Billy got his community. Yeah, I'm forming my community outside of the regular internet. And I think that's the future, forming our own communities. And I did it all the time when I do Fast with KT, I form a community. When I did Blueprint with Billy and Dr. B, I formed the Discord community. So y'all know what the deal is. So when I do it, it ain't going to be nothing new. Y'all know what the deal is. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, listen, family, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. This is Brother Rich. I'm getting out of here. God bless. Have a good night. I will see you on Wednesday. All right, family? Peace and blessings.